Hi, my name is Suchitra Krishnamurthy. I'm a singer, actress, painter, and author. Over the long course of my life, I've also been anointed with many other titles like the Too Much Woman, the Nobody Woman, the Who Does She Think She Is Woman, the Inconvenient Woman, the Difficult Woman, the Attention Grabber, Gold Digger, Secret Spiller. Life has been a roller coaster. Picture this. Barely into my 20s, when other people my age were still figuring out what to do with their lives, I already had that hit debut film with India's leading emerging superstar, some hit pop songs to my credit, and marriage to an internationally renowned film director. They call me the luckiest girl in the world, really. They said my life is like a fairy tale. But this success did come with a manual, you know. There were rules and instructions. Don't smile too much, don't have too many opinions, walk 2 steps behind, don't frown, smile again. I tried my best to fit in and people please. I mean, 20-year-old brains are rather brainwashable, right? So I became somebody's mom, I became somebody's mother, and between the baby bottles and red carpets, I lost myself completely. I mean, Suchitra was nowhere to be found. Classic story, right? Cliche even. Woman finds love, loses herself. Does this sound familiar, ladies? Yeah, it's like our primordial brains are trained to make us shrink more and more, so we make those around us appear larger. We shrink ourselves to other people's expectations, diminish ourselves to extinction. We start apologizing for our existence, we whisper our dreams if we dare have them anymore. I too tried to play the perfect wife, perfect mother, perfect hostess for years. But my perfection was oppression. In designer clothes, maybe, but still oppression. Only I didn't know it then. Till life happened. Divorce hit like a truck. The scandals, the rumors, the financial battles, the name calling from luckiest girl in the world, fairy tale life. I went to failed actor, failed actress, failed singer, failed mother, failed wife. I started drowning in other people's definitions of me. Every time I tried to pluck myself out of this rut, I was met with strange consequences. You know, one time I came back home from work to find that my daughter had fallen off the top floor of her bunk bed. Another time she was down with chicken pox or eczema. And one time, which was particularly distressing, was when I came home to find my nanny, whom I had hired to look after my daughter in my absence. My nanny was whacking my daughter left, right, and center to make her eat her meal on time. Terrified for my daughter's safety, I started to stay home more and more. Days went into weeks, weeks went into months, and months went into years. To stay sane, I started painting. I started writing blog after blog, blogs that entertained, blogs that enraged, blogs that got me death threats and rape threats, blogs that the troll attacked my mother for also, for giving birth to such a brazen, irreverent and blasphemous daughter. They asked me to stop. What is the need to be so controversial? They said, who do I think I am? But I couldn't stop. I had to express myself. My expression somehow was more important than their comfort. I decided I would rather be controversial than complicit. I would rather be authentic than made to fit. So not only did I continue blogging, I started writing books as well. I started with fiction and then I moved on to memoirs. Memoirs that reveal some rather inconvenient truths, if I may add. Drama queen, why are you being such a drama queen? They said. They thought they're insulting me, but you know what? I made that the title of my book. Yes, and then my book went on to become a play, and then this play has gone on to become India's first musical on the world's largest audio platform. The accolades and reviews are still coming in, and I feel grateful. I feel so grateful. I'm filled with drama queenly pride, really. Strange, isn't it? That when a man expresses himself with rage, extreme emotion, uh, kicking the door, pounding the table, raising his voice, they call it leadership. They call it fantastic personality. They call it passion. You've never heard a man being called a drama king, have you, for expressing the same intense emotion that women express? No. A man's fire is dynamism. A woman's fire is hysteria. A man's conviction is strength. A woman's conviction makes her difficult. A man who fights for his vision is a visionary, a maverick. A woman who does the same is the too much woman. That damn too much word again. Really. This linguistic slate of hand is not just accidental. It is, it is ancient. For millennia, men have written history for men, about men through the male lens. Whether it's our history books, our religious texts, our founding documents, all written from the male perspective. Even our language, our intonations have this influence. We have countless ways to diminish women's expression, to diminish feminine expression, while enhancing, elevating men's expression. Hysteria versus dynamism, passion versus don't be such a drama queen. Why is that? So I decided I would try and enlighten everybody about what being a drama queen really means. So who are the drama queens? Let me tell you. We are the ones with high standards. We are the ones who are not afraid to express ourselves. We are the ones who are not afraid to use our voice. We are not afraid to walk away from situations or people that belittle or control us. We demand our respect in the world. This is good drama, right, guys? This is good drama. It makes the world a more equal place. Let me tell you what the sad drama is, the bad drama. It is the epidemic of female silence. When women are forced into complicity to remain silent over everything, whether it's rape, domestic violence, even men litigating over their bodies and whether they can procreate or not. This subjugation is given glorious, glorifying platitudes like womanhood, femininity, nobility, grace. Brainwash again. It's nothing but brainwash. Bunkum we have been fed over the centuries. But you know what? We don't have to put up with this bunkum anymore. So I decided again to come up with a list of the perfect traits and attributes and habits we can cultivate and inculcate to be our own imperfect versions of the perfect drama queens, to tell our stories our way. So here is the to-do list to be your own imperfect version of the perfect drama queen. 1. Say no without explaining why. Speak up at that meeting. Write that blog that people will hate. Start that business that people say is impossible. Stop asking for permission. You don't need anybody's permission but that of your conscience. Walk away from that situation or that person who belittles you, diminishes you. Remember, every time you use your voice, the little girl watching you speak knows it's not only safe, but also necessary. Stop postponing your dreams to fit other people's schedules. Learn to say yes and no. People will always try to cancel you, diminish you, edit you. Be your own ruthless editor. Don't worry ever about upsetting the status quo. Remember, somewhere, someone in the world is always going to be upset, always going to be pissed off. Just make sure it's not you. Your voice is your weapon against erasure. Use it wisely, use it boldly, use it uninhibitedly. So, guys, let's create some good drama for yourselves, for ourselves. Take that risk. Start that new business. Make that art. Ignite your impossible. So, everybody, be your own drama queen. Write your own story or somebody else will do it for you. And what if they get it wrong? Be your own hero, be your own shiro. Thank you.